What up, T? What up, brother?
What's up, brother? Good to see you.
Dude, we've gone long back, way back.
For sure.
I always like every time I see you post something, every now and then I'll send you a message. I'm like, LA Boxing Days,
bro.
And it's like it's an inner joke because it's like the only one who gets it. But you started way before that. You've been grappling since how long?
I've been wrestling since I was 8 years old.
8 years old.
Been dabbling with submissions since, if you count the backyard and living room carpet floor days.
Exactly.
Long time.
And that's the thing. I was gonna ask you, like, well, what got you into this? It's like, well, you've been in it, and then from there, like the LA Boxing Days, and then from LA Boxing to UFC, and then from there, because you started training, and then you started training when you were a kid, and then you started training at LA Boxing, and then UFC gym, and then now you're teaching. And dude, tell us a little about your collar and elbow, and what you got going on with the wrestling wars.
Got plenty to say about collar and elbow. That was like a turning point in my grappling journey. Like you said, I've been wrestling my whole life. I was doing MMA, I was doing Jiu Jitsu. Jiu Jitsu kind of like changed my grappling and helped me evolve it after wrestling for so long. I reached, a pretty high level in Jiu Jitsu, did a lot of competitions, faced black belts, eventually was awarded a black belt. I never had a real instructor either, so I was kind of just like bouncing around and learning. And I got burnt out after a while, took some injuries, whatever. Then I learned Ireland used to have its own style of wrestling. Like, I'm into all the, folky styles of wrestling around the world and all that nerdy stuff. And I'm passionate about my Irish ancestry. And I remember always thinking, like, why don't they grapple there? Like, why do all their MMA fighters suck? Why don't they have a wrestling team? Even in street fights, if they start clinching, people break it up.
Right,
so I just thought it wasn't a thing there.
Right.
But a long time ago, they did have a style of wrestling, and it was the most popular in America and in Ireland and around the world, collar and elbow. It's a jacket style. You grab the collar, you grab the elbow. You can't let go. It's just trips, throws, takedowns. It's badass stuff. So I've kind of immersed myself in that, helped me get way better at foot sweeps. And then Wrestling Wars is the promotion I run where we do catch wrestling, collar and elbow wrestling, all types of wrestling mashed into one. It's growing. It's pretty exciting, I think.
So I have a few. That's awesome. And I have a few more. So what is, like, if you have any advice for wrestlers? Because, dude, I started off as a wrestler, and I was, like, just kind of winning at will. And, like, if you have any advice for wrestlers, I don't know. I don't, like, because people who start off, I always say work off your back or work on your strengths.
For sure.
Or things like that. If you have any advice for anybody who's wrestling that's a transition into that.
It makes the transition a lot easier if you have wrestled before. And I've taught a lot of, adults who never wrestled, like grapplers and jiu-jitsu guys, how to wrestle. So I understand the transition in both. You definitely need both. And it's easy for me to dismiss and be like, just use wrestling, bro.
Right.
After I've already reached a black belt level in jiu-jitsu. To deal with the jiu-jitsu and use the wrestling. Like I said, it kind of came full circle. And I got back into catch wrestling. Well, I got into catch wrestling during that time too, and I became a world champion in that, started immersing myself in that.
Right.
That's where I tell a lot of wrestlers to start.
Right.
And I'm trying to kind of provide that middle ground and that avenue, because that's just folk style wrestling with submissions. Or you could say it's jiu-jitsu with pins. So kind of merging the two worlds is definitely the way. But like you said, you have to learn to work off your back. You have to learn to recover when someone's pinning you if the match doesn't just end with a pin. You have to learn how to pass guard, deal with the jiu-jitsu.
Right.
So everyone needs both.
And that's part of the reasons why I'm having this interview with you, is because, yes, you did become a catch wrestling world champion, dude. And I'm so proud of you, dude. That's awesome, because, like, I would always show people, like, hey, you see that guy wrestling? Like, yeah, I used to train him. Like, really? Yeah. I was like, yeah, dude, we go way back. And now here I am interviewing you.
And that's what I was excited to see.
And that's awesome. And what I like, too, man, is, like, a lot of UFC fighters, a lot of wrestlers didn't have an outlet.
I know.
But now we're having an outlet. Now this grappling is getting a lot bigger. Now they don't have to fight in the cage. Now it's their decision. Now you see D1 wrestlers, you see wrestlers grappling at these prestigious grappling tournaments, and I want to see more of that, and I think that's awesome. And dude, man, thank you so much for the interview. I know it's a quick interview, dude. And dude, come to the Lions Den. Where are we at in Homer Glen? Yeah, Homer Glen. Yeah, Bell Road. And thank you, brother.
Got it.
Good living.
Thanks.